All right, we got the Facebook Live going. Business owner dads. Take the only one.
Excellent.
Welcome. This is Time for Success, Business Owner Dads Edition. And this is Matt Barbie, the host of Time for Success, speaker, author, and strategist. I help businesses grow and succeed. But the thing is that always comes up is success. And what does that really mean? It's not always necessarily just about profits. It's also about people and family. And we've got a wonderful guest here today, Mr. George Bailey. That's right. We brought him back from the movie. And no, I know that's the reference, but got to give him a hard time. So George, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And George, tell us a little bit more about you, your business, and your family, and how you define success. Just throw it all in there, man.
Loaded question.
Loaded question. I threw like 3 or 4 questions in there, just all at once.
I am a financial services professional. I've been working in life insurance, and I've worked with alternative assets. Really enjoyed it. The last 4.5 years have been really fun doing that. Prior to that, I actually came to St. Louis to attend law school. Decided against going into the law, but just wanted to go into business in general.
Yeah.
Though it was very enjoyable, and the short career that I had before that was actually in foreign language instruction.
Amazing.
And I still use my languages whenever I can. I sit on the board of directors for the local Asian American Chamber of Commerce. But the project I've been working on very passionately lately has been my podcast. It's called Choose the Nickel.
Yeah.
And it's all about the childhood successes, we'll get back to that word, and failures of today's leaders in business and entertainment. So we talk, we get these people on the show, we talk about their childhoods. It's been really fun to explore the experiences that were most formative in preparing them for adulthood, preparing them to work hard to do something really meaningful. Outside of that, you asked me a little bit about, so I am a father and a husband.
Yes.
I've got a wonderful wife, Christina, and we have 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters, Joseph, William, Elizabeth, Madeline, ages 11, 8, 6, and 3 respectively. So we are busy.
Definitely.
Now, on the success front, I give that a lot of thought because, even when I say successful people, that I interview and whatnot, I think like, well, are they really successful? Are they happy? Are they happy in their marriages, happy in their parenting relationships, or with their own children, or with their own parents? And are they happy with the friends that they have around them? And so I think that that's a very big part of success, is being able to just smile.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to water down the definition of success to the point where we're not talking about, some professional success as well. I think that, and, I myself, I don't think that I'm necessarily professionally successful yet. That's something I'm working for. But I think having established a career in which you are very happy, and in which you are also able to create the type of income that is congruent with, what it is that you're doing.
Right.
And that helps you provide for the needs of your own life. Hopefully not over much. I don't think you need to be a billionaire to be a successful, or even to have just millions upon millions. You need to feel at peace that what you're making is going to help you to be able to retire or do whatever it is that you really want to do. And on that level, I feel like, I'm still learning.
Yeah. Well, I think that anybody who thinks that they're done learning is probably not successful.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe in a certain level of their mind, they've hit a certain goal, and so at that level, they're success. But I wouldn't necessarily say that they're successful, because yeah, there's no point in time whenever you've learned it all before you know, your time here on earth is ended. But so, but yeah, I love what you were saying there in terms of you know, kind of having peace with where you're at now. Tell me a little bit more about like what that looks like for like you and your family as well. So
specifically for me, like what will success look like? You know, well, first of all, you know, again, I put my family first. Not all the time. I think sometimes I fail at that. I think sometimes, you know, you get caught up in your work and you neglect those relationships that really matter. And then you'll turn around and you'll say, you know, when your wife comes to you and says, hey, you know, we're not getting enough time together. And I'm saying, well, I'm so busy because I'm doing all this for us.
Right.
You know, that kind of sounds pretty empty, you know? And so, and I've pulled that before. But when I'm at my best and when my relationships are at my best, I feel like what it looks like is spending time teaching one another, doing things together where there is a reciprocation of enjoyment.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday, for example, I think was a success. Last night, I sat down with my kids and we whipped out Boggle, and I taught them, like, this is how you play Boggle, and we modified the rules a little bit so that I wouldn't totally kill them, or rather, so that my wife wouldn't kill all of us.
Nice.
She's a super Boggle champ. Like she knows very fast on that. You know, but the point is that we were all there, all six of us, all cheering each other on, having a lot of fun, and doing something that required intelligence. You know, even my little daughter Madeline, who can't read, she's 3 years old. I try to include her and just say, hey, just find one letter that you recognize. And of course, or it's like M for Maddie. You know, that's her letter right there. You know, and then we go to the next kid and let them find a word. But that to me was a moment of success.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, in just even looking at it just as a moment, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you know, I try to impress and when I speak or talk with folks too, that you know, we have these grand designs, but it really comes down to what we're doing in the moment and where our habits are taking us and all that. And if we can at least do better at controlling the moment, you know, we can start making progress for the bigger goals. So I love that when you talk about success in the moment.
Yeah.
So, and I love the family time thing, or the game time.
Yeah. It's got to be there. I really feel like, look, and I didn't play games with my family when I was a kid. My mom and dad just were really into that type of thing. Fortunately, I married a woman who really is into that, and so we own a lot of games, and we play them, and we have other activities. We read to each other, and you know, and yeah, there's television. I'm not gonna say that, you know, we have no television in our family. You know, no, it exists. It's a thing. Right. But I would also add one little bit. I tweak the definition of success just a little bit, and I think that also has to do with who you are as a human. You know, are you the person that you really want to be? Now, that should, I would hope, always be evolving as you learn more about how life works and whatnot. I think that person will want to change and be better as we adapt to our understanding of, you know, the universe and everything like that. But I think that success could be these moments, but it could also be identity. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So how would you tease that apart? How would you like explain to somebody like how to see that for themselves? Teasing apart the moments and then identity.
You know, that's a great question coming from a business coach. I feel like I'd have to be a coach to kind of get them to see that and whatnot. But that's a great question.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No. I love. Hey, this is an interview. Hey, if I can't be put on the spot, who am I? You know.
Well, yeah, you do interviews on your show. So
I know. I like having the tables turned on me. I like this a lot actually because I know, like, oh, that was a hard question. That's what it feels like to be asked a hard question. How would I help someone come to a definition of success for themselves? First of all, I would have them focus on relationships.
That's good.
Because I think that right there, none of us is an island.
Yeah.
None of us, success is a very relative word in terms of, you know, it exists between people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I could say, well, I'm successful because I'm becoming who I want to be and whatnot. But even then, I feel like that exists between us and our notion of goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even then, it's still, so those are maybe the two starting points I would pick. Who are the people around you, and what are your notions of goodness?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can adequately define those people around you that matter the most and how you want to be perceived to them, and then if you can adequately define your notions of goodness and how you are in relation to that, I think that that's a great starting point. But I would even go to Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, classic cliche a little bit, but his second habit has always been very powerful for me, and that is that you need to be able to see the end from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he has you do this exercise where you envision your own funeral. It's a little bit dark,
right?
You know, whatever. I don't know how I died. Probably in some sort of, freak accident involving a microwave or something like that. I don't know, microwave and 3 butcher knives, whatever. But you have to envision your own funeral, and then you have to envision people speaking at that funeral. So there's the relationships, and then you have to envision what they are saying about you. And that is, again, that's your values.
Yeah. Right
there. So I think that would be an exercise I would do with someone.
Now, what if you envision living longer than everybody else?
Oh, downer. Frozen in one of those, what is that called? Cryonics or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Like your Walt Disney and your head's been frozen and then like you're brought back on some sort of like.
But then I get to see it all unfold. Like this is what it was like. You got to keep on making friends with the people.
I guess
as they die off, then you make new friends.
Yeah.
Don't worry. As long as we keep on populating the planet, you're good.
Right. So now, if you were to take that family, you're hanging out at Boggle and you're chatting, and you were to ask them, well, what does success look like? How do you think they would answer?
Oh, man. And this is really great because my goal is to be able to teach my children a healthy definition of success.
Yeah.
Even as I feel like I am not succeeding. And this is actually part of the point of the podcast I've been doing, is that I myself am deeply inadequate as a parent. And parenting is a very humbling experience because all of my biggest faults come out. Whether it's like I'm not, succeeding in the way that I want to at work, and that has implications for our family, or whether it is, sometimes I lose patience with my children, and say things that I really regret, or maybe become a little bit overbearing, those types of things.
Yeah. So
here I am, a dysfunctional human being. And I think that on some level, we're all at least a little bit dysfunctional, if not a lot dysfunctional.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we are trying to mentor these little humans who come in and they are so good. And yes, they do things that are naughty and stuff like that, but we don't give them enough credit for how good they are. And we're about to put upon them our worldview. And so I look at that and I think like, oh my gosh, that's a really daunting, it's a very daunting responsibility. And so the whole podcast is my quest, talking with successful people to find out, well, how did your parents teach you about these experiences? So in some ways, I'm using what I'm learning from these people to be able to give my children the types of experiences that I hope will teach them what a healthy success is.
Yeah.
Now, what that is, what they would, right now, my kids would not give you a very good answer. Probably not. Joe, my oldest son, has autism. He loves Disney, and his definition of success is the ability to be able to tell you every bad guy in every Disney movie, to tell you how that person died, because he knows. Even if he hasn't seen the movie, he knows. To tell you the name of every good guy, and the saddest part of every movie or the happiest part of every movie, which one has a battle. That's his measurement of success.
Hey, I know a lot of adults that identify with that, but just kind of like in the Marvel universe.
Or
So I mean, it's valid, totally valid. It's valid. He just chooses Disney.
Yeah, well, and I don't hold it against him, and I try to kind of reinforce to him, like, I value what you value.
Yeah.
My son William is really into, and I can't go through all my kids, for time's sake, but to give you a picture, my son William is really into something called Arduino. It's like this circuit board building kit or something like that.
Like the little Pi boards and all that.
Yeah. And his level of his measurement of success right now is his ability to be able to program And some of it, though, I see in William more than I see in Joseph. His definition of success actually involves me personally as a father, because he really wants to please me. And it's you know, if he only knew how much I'm deeply pleased, I feel like that's something I want to convey to him much more than I do. But like, he not only wants to program, but he wants to teach everything that he's programming through podcasts and websites, because he sees Dad building the website and doing this podcast. It's like, Dad, what if we did this lesson, this you know, kind of seminar on how to program and stuff like that, and I want to cheer him on. And it's really hard because I'm also there to show him boundaries.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, well, that requires money. You know, that's as a starting point. Right now, we don't have a lot of money. But then I try to enable and say, kind of a rich dad, poor dad approach. Well, we don't have the money. What do we need to do to get the money to enable this?
Right, right.
And, you know, so there are a lot of challenges even in helping to, whether I like it or not, shape the definitions of success that my children adopt.
Yeah, yeah. I really like that because, you know, we talk a lot about kind of bigger ideas, but you really kind of, you brought in the micro a little bit more, you know, each individual and what are their interests and where are they trying to go and how can you foster that within them. So that's, so I guess let's pull that apart a little bit more. I mean, so do you take the time and help them with the Arduino boards and the Raspberry Pis or
what William does is very much over my head.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already he's 8 years old. He's talking about coding on a level that I don't get. He'll bring up HTML and I glaze over. And so the only help I feel like I can really get is don't stop him.
Yeah.
And don't tell him it's dumb. Don't tell him, don't tell him that, you never tell him it is too expensive, period.
Right. That's good.
Like,
That's good.
Just say, okay, there are limitations, but those limitations all have ways to be circumvented.
Yeah.
And so let's teach him the rules of circumvention and how to do that right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting because I think it's easy, especially as a dad, where culture tells us that you know, our bank account is how we should define success. You know, our professional level, whatever that might be, is how we define success. But you know, we'll forsake that. We'll put that aside. You know, and we'll maybe even compound the problem. Maybe if we don't have enough money for something the kids ask them to do. Oh, you know, whether it's you know, I want to go out for McDonald's tonight, and maybe things are a little bit tight just because, you know, cash flow's tight sometimes as a business owner, right? I mean, that happens, right? Or as you got a startup, or it's, hey, you know, I want to go to Disney 3 times this year, right? You know, because each Disney trip taking the family is what, $3,000 to $5,000 at least. So,
good heavens, yeah, you're right. And I dream of being able to take my kids to Disney.
Right.
It ain't happening this year.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
it's something I want to work towards.
Right. But it's so easy to kind of snap and be like, I mean, and I've done it in the past too. I mean, let's all be real. It's like, we just don't have the money for that right now. All right, we just can't do that right now. I just don't have the time for that right now. We just you know, we're just not doing that right now.
We can be very dismissive.
Right, but we almost. The truth is that we're dismissive, but because it hurts, and we're being real, right? It kind of hurts because we want to do that for them, but we're trying to figure out how to balance it all, and so we're going to get defensive about it. Would you say defensive is a good word to describe it?
It is so good. It's so real, and let me tell you about one of the thoughts I've had for the last few years. There is this ING survey that came out in 2009 that showed that on a 2-to-1 basis, parents would rather talk with their kids about sex than they would about money. 2-to-1.
Wow.
And so I kept on trying to like wrap my head around that. Like, why in the world? You know, because we all think that sex is this taboo thing. So, you know, of course, you know, that's going to be the thing that we're going to be uncomfortable about.
Right.
No, it's not. It's money. And so my theory, this is my working theory on why that is that when we, when it's like, sex, there's really nothing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of ego there because, first of all, the ego is none of their business. Second of all, the kid is already here. The very fact that the child is here means I have nothing to prove.
Yeah.
I'm already at least somewhat of an authority. Okay?
Okay, that's an interesting analysis. All right.
But money is a lot more personal. It goes a lot more to the ego, because when your kids are asking you about money, there is something to prove.
Yeah.
You're not being asked to prove anything when it comes to a birds and bees conversation.
Right.
Okay, you may feel nervous and twiddle your thumbs and it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But with money, it's always like, well, why don't we have enough money? This is a very normal question, and it goes right to the core of who I am when my kid asks me. Because the reason we don't have enough money is because I'm not making enough money because of my decisions in business and my successes, my failures, and things like that. And so it really burns on a very deep level.
Yeah. And
that's my working theory. I don't know if it's true.
I think, well, again, one of the reasons that I wanted to start this show is because I've seen it with consulting throughout the years, stories, just people I hear. I mean, you hear about it all the time that families struggle when businesses struggle, right?
Yeah.
And especially for business owner dads who the culture pushes them that again, your success is your money, your success is the level of your business, and so we're taught that we must be failures if we're not making enough money, right? And I think maybe millennials and some of the younger generations are trying to kind of push that a little bit. Good for them too.
I
think that they are,
yeah.
But still, there's still those underlying currents, right?
I agree.
Rather than saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's get this family thing right. Make sure that we're doing that." I mean, I know I've sacrificed, success and money in terms of some of those things in certain deals and whatnot because it just wasn't right for my family. But I can't say I've always given them the time that they should, so it's a constant balance, constant growth. How do you hold that mirror up to yourself, and ask yourself, like, self, am I doing about right by them?
I mean, when I'm at my best, incidentally, when I'm at my best is when I'm more likely to be reflective and find out the things that I'm doing when I'm at my worst.
Yeah.
When I'm at my best, I mean, I take time in the morning to, I pray. Some people, you can meditate, whatever it is that you do. Yeah. I find that is very introspective. It's a way of measuring myself. I said earlier about, people's notions of good, and that relationship is one that helps define whether or not we're being successful. Yeah. My prayer is a way of evaluating my own notions of good, because I hold God up as being the ultimate good. Therefore, I measure myself up against that. Now, maybe you don't believe in God. That's fine. But you still have to explore those notions of good. Right. And if meditation is your way to get there, then that's great. So I think that would be my answer.
Okay. So trying to hold yourself up, figuring out how you how you define what good is, and mm-hmm. So, I mean, if, I'm a Christian and so yeah, I try to hold myself up to Christ's values and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not always easy though. I mean, you still see a lot of people who identify themselves as Christian.
No. People identify themselves as all trolls
sorts of things. On the internet. They're in real life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it does take a real hard check. Like, was that really a conversation that was based on how I define good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes, with my own kids, and and I know we're running out of time, but with my own kids, if I have an instance of poor performance on my part, I'll go back and I'll actually replay that whole thing in my mind. That's and good. Say, what was the way that I could have done that differently?
I love that question.
And then, because you have to do that, because then when you go back, and it happens again, when the same interaction sets itself up, then you have a new script. You have to basically create a new script for yourself. In order to overcome the old script.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to make sure, I know we're getting kind of tight on time here. Please tell the audience a little bit more about Choose the Nickel and what your other services too. Whatever you want to talk about in terms of that, and also how they can get a hold of you if they want to contact you for or listen to Choose the Nickel or any of that stuff. So please.
So Choose the Nickel is a podcast that you can download on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're really looking for people to like us on Facebook. And if you like us on Facebook, you will see everything that we're putting out. We have interviews with some spectacular folks. And that really is the best way to get a hold of us. And if you go to our website at www.choosethenickel.com, you can find our contact page, and that would allow you to be able to get an email directly to me.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And really great in-depth insights on how you define success and your family and all that. I really appreciate your transparency and sincerity. And this has been Matt Barbie for Time for Success. And also, please like our page. Go to our Facebook page, Matt Barbie Time for Success. Heck yeah! All right, thank you, everyone. All right. Hi, Lauren. Hey.